Hello, this is Hussein Shel. Thank you for joining me. I'm a principal program manager for the Azure Global Energy team, focusing on strategic customer engagements and working with the customers to help them in their journey in digital transformation across oil and gas, power and utility, sustainability, and renewables. I'm here to talk to you about some of the work that we're doing with our customers on HPC, and we will be focusing on oil and gas, but we're also working with many of our customers across the spectrum in energy industry. Before I delve into the details for HPC, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we look at the energy industry in general and how we recognize the challenges that many of our customers face, whether it's through their global footprint, whether through their complex and harsh environments that they have to operate on, and the challenges that they have around data and the scale really that they're operating on that many of the industries don't necessarily have to deal with. And in order for us to be the chosen partner with many of our customers, we really have to look at our engagements globally. How do we provide the infrastructure, the data centers, the networking capabilities that can serve our customers across the globe, be the trusted partner in many of the compliance issues that they have and around data sovereignty and cyber sovereignty in many of their operations, and provide the intelligent tools and capabilities that enable not only cloud workflows, but also edge workflows and workloads that many of our customers are interested in doing. So we really want to partner with them in a long-term journey, not on a very quick wins, and we want to make sure that we are providing the necessary engineering capabilities, the partnerships, the trusted mechanics of engagement when we're dealing with many of our customers. As I said, one of the key power of the cloud and what really Azure brings to the front is our global presence when it comes to energy industries. Many of the partnerships and the customer-driven engagements have been driven by customers who are really working with us on providing a footprint available for them for many of the cloud services that they need. A few things that I want to highlight, or a few announcements that I want to highlight, are the work that we're doing in Norway in partnership with many of our key strategic customers like Equinor and others in enabling a data center, multiple data centers really, to allow them to do the work that they need to do. Some of the work that we're doing in the Middle East, like in UAE, with our data centers that are operating now, are in close partnerships with many of our customers there, and then any other regions that you see on the picture here. This is really supported by a huge backbone and a very large fiber network that we own and we lease. That is a key enabler for many of our customers' workload around data movement and latency sensitive type of workflows. And so this is a key important capability that we offer and many of our customers take advantage of. Now I want to switch a little bit to HPC in particular. And so when we are dealing with HPC all up in Azure, we're really looking across many of our industries that we deal with and the customers that we interact with. This can go through financial services, through manufacturing, auto, including energy. But specifically for energy, when we talk about some of the workloads that we're focusing on for oil and gas in particular, we're really talking about seismic processing and imaging, reservoir simulation, visualization and interpretation, as well as an emerging aspect and pattern that we're seeing in introducing AI and machine learning capabilities into what is usually a traditionally or a legacy HPC workflows. And we're engaged with many of our customers across the board when it comes to some of these capabilities. So many of you are going to ask, why the cloud, right? You've been doing this for many years. You've been doing this for decades. You've optimized your current on-premise footprint. There are very specific opportunities that the cloud can help in this journey. And some of those reasons are mentioned on this slide, and I'll talk about a couple. And it's really the ability to provide flexible offerings and different way of thinking and doing HPC for seismic imaging and processing, for reservoir simulation, etc. There's a pattern that we're seeing with many of our customers that they are able to optimize and specialize the solution that needs to be deployed in the cloud for that particular application or algorithm. So they can do a slice of that workload given a type of hardware or storage that we offer, but they could also do the other pieces of that particular hardware in a very completely different way that they've done it in the past traditionally. Another way of looking at is there's a lot of interest in looking at cloud native technologies, whether it's object storage, whether it's native schedulers, and we offer that opportunity to our customers to partner with us and do a lot of those capabilities. So overall, there's a shift in thinking between a total cost of ownership to a total cost of solution that is needed to be deployed to the cloud and optimize both performance and cost. So it's really not a big bang transition, and I'll talk a little bit about that journey in a few slides, but it's more of a journey to transform the way they've done things for many, many years into a new way of thinking. So I want to talk a little bit about the journey that I just mentioned. So what we're seeing is that many of our customers have very specific hardware or capabilities that they've invested in on premise that usually leaves little room for flexibility when they have new spikier or new business demand, especially given the current situation in the industry, for example, in oil and gas. There's also a new business demand that's appearing through artificial intelligence and machine learning, data analytics, new regulations, for example, as well as IoT that is interfering with the existing infrastructure, because most of those workloads will leverage the same hardware and footprint that was used for traditionally HPC. So there's a lot of queuing, a lot of time that's been spent there that is unnecessary typically now with the cloud offerings. And so what we're seeing is many of our customers are moving to the cloud through variable demand and unlocking many of those capabilities that they couldn't do on premise in the right time, leveraging the cloud providers. And we've invested heavily in solution, in software and in hardware capabilities with many acquisitions to enable this particular workload. But there's also another part of our customers that are taking the journey completely and seeing how can they meet all of the demand on the cloud directly, leveraging cloud native technologies that I mentioned earlier. So we're seeing a pattern of transition between lift and shift to hybrid workflows and burst capabilities to also very new cloud native technologies and really a complete transformation of HPC footprint on Azure. So I want to get into now a little bit on the specific offerings that we have. And so when we talk about HPC in Azure, it's really focusing around our H and our N series, along with some of our high performance storage options. I want to highlight that we are the only cloud provider that provides InfiniBand enabled compute, whether it's on the CPU or on the GPU, which is a critical component of the success of the performance and the cost for many of our customers' workflows that we mentioned earlier. Our partnership with Cray has been instrumental in leveraging their technologies as well. Many of our customers have deployed and are very familiar with Cray. Our partnerships with Intel and others are extremely important in providing the right hardware and the right solution for the right problem. And we're very proud with many of those partnerships that we have with the providers. I want to transition a little bit to the software side of the house and talk about the investments that we've made in our Azure Batch offerings, as well as Azure Cycle Cloud, when it comes to the services and the software layer of the solution. Many of our customers are challenged with managing the current infrastructure that they have on premise. And so the ability to manage existing and new infrastructure in the cloud is really important, and this is where Cycle Cloud comes in. It's a traditional cluster and scheduler orchestration that helps an end-to-end story. And with Azure Batch, it's really focusing towards how do you build cloud-native application, leveraging cloud-native job scheduling components that enable partners, for example, to build applications natively working on the cloud without having to go through the complexities of lift and shift. I am extremely proud with many of the partnerships that we've had across the industry. This is in particular in oil and gas, but also across the whole energy spectrum. We have worked with many of the logos and the companies that you see on this particular slide. And one in particular company and customer that I'd like to highlight is really Repsol, where we've worked with them and we've worked with their team to transform the way they've done HPC in the past and leverage many of those services that I talked about across compute, across storage, and networking. On the other side is we have very strategic and large partnerships with many of the service providers and solution providers in this space, like Halliburton, Schlumberger, and CGG. And our main really strategy and focus is to enable our common customers to use the tools that they've done in the past and they've used in the past that they're comfortable with, and at the same time work with many of our partners to enable and introduce new technologies and new cloud native technologies like machine learning and IoT, et cetera, to improve on their existing solutions so that it's a win-win-win situation across the board. This is really all I have for you today. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them, and a slew of team members that I have that could help. Thank you so much.